Hi guys, welcome to another crochet tutorial with me, Laura, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to do this more advanced stitch, the Celtic Weave stitch. Now this stitch is more complicated and my second time filming this because my camera decided to corrupt the file. So I'm going to have to start again from scratch, but this is quite a fiddly stitch, but hopefully you'll give it a go. You'll need to have knowledge of the front post stitch and the back post stitch, and also the treble crochet stitch in US terminology. In UK terminology, that's the double treble. So if you're new to crochet, do go check out those particular beginner tutorials and maybe coming back to this more complicated stitch. Right, let's begin. Let's crack on, shall we? So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to do a slip knot. It's going to change to a different yarn here. Excuse the state of my fingers. And what we're going to do is we're going to work to units of 4 plus 2 plus 1. So first of all, let's work to our units of 4. So it's a 4 times table. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So chained 4, and then I'm going to chain another 4. 5, 6, 7 and 8, another 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, and let's do another 4, 13, 14, 15 and 16. Okay, so we've got our unit of 4, that's 4 times 4 is 16, but you can use any unit of 4. And then once you've got your unit of 4, we're going to add 2 onto that to chain another 2. 1 and 2, and that's going to be your unit for the actual pattern. Then for the original chain row, foundation chain row, we're just going to do an extra 1 on top of that. So in total I've done 19 chains. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do a very simple row of single crochets. So in UK terminology, focus camera, that's going to be a double crochet. So we are going to work into our second chain from our hook. We don't count the loop on our hook. That's our first, there's our second chain. Put our hook into there and do a single crochet, and we're going to do 1 single crochet in each chain across. So go into the next chain, do a single crochet, and next chain, single crochet, and do 1 single crochet in each chain across. This will make it easier to do the pattern rather than working straight into your chains. You can work straight into your chains, but it's just a little bit more fiddly, so I thought we'd do a little simple single crochet row to begin with. Okay, so 1 single crochet in each chain across, just coming up to the end. Okay, so once you've done 1 single crochet in each chain across, we end up with a stitch count of 18, so it's 1 less than you began with. Then what we're going to do is we are going to chain 3, and this is going to count as a double crochet, or in UK terminology, a treble crochet. And we're going to turn our work, and those chains, because they're going to count as a stitch, are going to pretend that they're going to be worked into that first stitch. So we're going to skip that first stitch that's already worked. Then we're going to yarn over twice to do a treble crochet, or in UK terminology, a double treble. So wrapping the yarn around our hook twice. Then we're going to skip the next 2 chains as well. So skip the next one and the next one. So you're skipping 3 to begin with. Okay, so that one's already worked, then skip 2. Then in the next one, we put our hook into that stitch, bring the yarn through. And whenever we do a double crochet or bigger, we just yarn over, pull through 2 until we get to the end. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that completes a treble crochet stitch. Then we're going to yarn over twice again and do a treble in the next stitch as well. Pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, like so. Then we need to work a treble in the skipped stitch. So find your first skipped stitch. I'm going to yarn over twice. Find your first skip stitch here, and we're going to work a treble into there. But what's easier, rather than going into the stitch from the front, we're going to go behind the stitch and come to the front that way. It's a lot easier to work into a skip stitch that way. Then we can grab the yarn and bring it through the stitch and then do our treble. Pull through 2, pull through 2. Then we're going to yarn over twice, find the next skip stitch, and again we're going to come from the back to the front, bring the yarn through and do a treble. Okay, so it should look something like that. Then what we're going to do, yarn over twice, and we're going to skip the next 2 stitches. So this one here was the one we worked. You can see the yarn pulling at the stitch. So leave that alone, skip the next stitch, skip the next one, and then in the next stitch, I'm going to do a treble. So pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Then yarn over twice, go into the next stitch, and do a treble in there as well. Then we're going to yarn over twice and find that first skip stitch back over here. And again, we're going to come from the back to the front because it's easier to work the stitch. Then just grab the yarn, bring it through, then do a treble. Yarn over twice and find your next skip stitch there. And again, come from the back to the front. Grab the yarn, do a treble. And we're just going to repeat this pattern all the way across. So you're going to skip the next 2, skip 1, skip 2, then in the next one, do a treble. Yarn over twice into the next stitch, do a treble. Then do a treble in that first skip stitch back over here. Let's come from behind. Grab the yarn, yarn over twice, find the next one there, and then we've got, how many we've got left? We've got 5 left, so we're going to skip the next 2, do a treble in the next stitch. And then do a treble in the next stitch. Then do a treble in that first skip stitch. And then a treble in the next skip stitch. And then when you get to the end, we should have 1 little stitch left right on the end here, just after that last one worked. And in there we're going to do a double crochet, or in UK terminology, a treble. So just a double crochet in there. Okay, so your first row should look something like that. You've got these crisscrosses of trebles. So moving on to the next row. Now this row is working back post stitches. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3, and again we're going to count that as a double crochet. I'm going to turn our work, and that stitch there has already worked because it's got our chains in it, so we're going to pretend that's already worked. And then we need to find the next 2 stitches. Now these 2 stitches are hidden behind these 2 going that way, so if we dig them out, you can just look for the stitches at the top and find these posts underneath. Okay, so we're going to be working around that first post there. We're going to yarn over twice, and to do a back post stitch, the easy way to remember to do that is always come from the back. So we're going to put our hook down, and we're going to come from the back to the front facing us. We come to the right hand side of that post, then we're going to go over the other side and back out to the back. If we turn our work over, you would have caught that post on the top of your hook. Okay, so all we need to do is bring that yarn underneath that post and do a treble. So pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay, yarn over twice, turn it back up the other way. Then we need to find the next one, which is even more hidden. So there, we dig it out, and again we come from the back, go to the back, turn it upside down, and we've caught that post on our hook. We can just bring the yarn underneath that and then do a treble. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to find the next 2 hidden stitches. So we're going to skip 2, so we're going to skip these 2 here, which are going that way. So skip 1, skip 2, find the next stitch, these ones hidden behind. So the thing to remember with the back post row is we're always looking for the ones that are hidden. So we're going to find this first hidden one here, and again come from the back, and then go to the back, turn it upside down, bring the yarn underneath the post, do a treble. Okay, yarn over twice, then find the next one that's hidden. It's really hidden behind those 2, but there it is. Come from the back, go to the back, and you've caught that post. Bring the yarn underneath, do a treble. Okay, so now what we want to do, it gets a little bit more fiddly. These 2 we skipped here, we want to do a back post stitch around them. So you might think, oh, I have to come down here, it's all a bit confusing, where do I put my hook? So what we're going to do, first thing you need to do is yarn over twice and go behind these stitches you've just worked. That's really important, otherwise the pattern will be messed up. So I want to go behind these stitches, and then bring the hook through to the right hand side of that first skipped post. But when you come to the right hand side of it, you need to make sure to skip these 2 here. So it needs to come between those 2. Okay, so I'll show you that again. I'm going to yarn over twice, go behind these stitches we just made, and come to the right hand side of those 2 going that direction, top left. Making sure not to catch any of those 2 stitches we just worked. And then do the same thing again, we go to the back, turn it upside down, and we've caught that post on our hook. So we can just bring the yarn underneath and then do a treble. Okay, so yarn over twice, show it for the next one. Sometimes when you turn it back, it's like, oh, where is everything gone? It's all confusing. What are we doing? Just make sure you flatten that corner down, and we need to find the next post. The next one is here. Okay, so we're looking for these 2 we skipped that are going top left. We just worked that one. Now we need to find this one. Just pull away all the other stitches out of the way. Hold on to it if you want to, and then go behind those stitches there. Go behind those and come to the right hand side of that stitch and out. So you've grabbed it on your hook. Bring the yarn underneath and do a treble. Okay, like so. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we've already worked these ones hidden behind here. So we're going to skip these next 2 that are going top left. We're going to skip those, find the next 2 that are hidden. Okay, so these ones here. So again, we'll do a back post stitch, come from the back, and go round to the back. You've caught that post on your hook, so bring the yarn underneath and do a treble. Okay, so find the next one that's hidden. This one here, come from the back, go to the left hand side, bring it underneath that post and do a treble. Okay, so a little bit easier. Now we need to find these 2 that we skipped that are going top left, just like we did over here. So what we're going to do is find that first one here, the one on the right hand side, and dig out these stitches underneath so they're out of the way, so you can really see it exposed. Then yarn over twice. We're going to go behind those stitches we just made and come to the right of that post, keeping away from these 2 here. Then go to the back. You've caught the post, bring the yarn underneath that post and do a treble. Might seem like a right mess at the moment, but it does come together. Yarn over twice and find the next one. So flatten everything down, find the next one, again come to the right hand side of it, avoiding all the stitches at the back, go out, turn it upside down, you've caught it on your hook, bring it underneath, do a treble. And just repeat that all the way across. So we skip the next 2 going top left and find the next 2 that are hidden. Dig out this next one, come to the back, go to the back, do a treble, And the next one that's hidden underneath. Do a treble. Yarn over twice, find your bearings, and look for these two that you skipped that are going top left. Find that first one here, and then move these ones out of the way. Go behind the stitches you just made, come to the right of that stitch, out to the back, turn upside down, you've caught that post, bring the yarn under the post, do a treble. Okay, find the next one, which is this one here. The camera does not want to focus today, it keeps going out of focus. I do apologise. Do a treble. Okay, so when you get to the end, now we've already worked these two hidden at the back. So we should have two left over, and these are the ones that we would normally skip and go on, but we haven't got any more to go on to, so we're just going to work back post stitches around these two going top left. So we're going to go to the right hand side of that one, catch the post, do a treble. Same for the next one. And then at the very, very end, we're just going to do a double crochet in those chains there. Okay, so just yarn over once this time. Go into the top of those chains as neatly as you can and do a double crochet. Okay, so it should look something like this, and you're like, that's looking nothing like your pattern, but if you turn it over, you can start to see it come together. So now we move on to a front post row. So we always start off with a chain 3, count that as a double crochet, and that stitch is technically already worked then. So when we work a front post stitch row, triple crochet front post stitch row, we need to look for these ones going top right. Okay, so these ones, the first one's going diagonal. We're going to skip these two here. These ones down here belong to, or actually all the way over here, because they're going underneath those and coming out, the stitches are coming out over here, so don't think that they're next in line, they're all the way over here. So we skip these first two obvious ones here, and we're going to find these two going top right. We're going to go just, when we do a front post stitch, instead of starting at the back, we're going to start at the front. So all we do is just go under that post there, we're not catching anything underneath, just grabbing that post, going in from the front, coming back out to the front, and just bring the yarn underneath and do your treble. So this row is much easier. Yarn over twice and find the next one, just pop your hook underneath, bring the yarn through and do a treble. Okay, like so. Okay, so what you want to do next is find these two over here. These ones under here always look like they're the previous ones you skipped, but they're actually worked all the way over here, so they're kind of out of the picture, these ones down here. So what you want to do is yarn over twice and find these two here at the very, very beginning. We're going to do a front post stitch around those. So we're going to bring our hook all the way down, and when we do a front post stitch, we're just going to go from the front, right hand side, then underneath. So we're just hooking it over our hook and do a treble. I don't think I went under that properly. Let's do that again. It's better. Everything's going wrong now. Battery died, tail's in the way. Okay, so that one's done. And then find this next one here. And again, come from the front, right hand side, over to the left, hooking it over the top. It's facing the front. Front, front, front for a front post stitch and do a treble. Okay, like that. Okay, and we're going to ignore these ones down here for now. That's not what we want to work with at the moment. Then we find the next two diagonals that are facing top right over here. And we're going to go under the first one and do a front post stitch around those. So this row is a lot easier. It's just about remembering the right stitches. Then do a treble front post stitch around the next one. Then the two we've skipped are these ones all the way down here, because they're, if you follow them over, fold this down, they come out you can see actually they come out over here. You see? So they're the two that we would have technically skipped. So we want to do a front post stitch around those. So what you need to do is pull this out of the way and find those two. Follow it up underneath. Find that first one there. We're only going in from the front, so we can just hook it out and do a treble. Do a treble around the next one, which is a little bit easier to see. Like so. Ta-da! And then we're going to skip the next two, which are hidden under here, which follow up from here. Find these two that are going top right, and then do a front post stitch around those. So for this row, when you do front post stitches, you just need to look for these ones that are going top right from the very beginning. So there we go. Then find the two you skipped, which is sat. See these ones that follow up underneath. Fold that down. Find that first one. Hook that out. Bring the yarn underneath. Do a treble crochet stitch, and do a treble crochet around the next one as well. Okay, so when you've done that, we've got the next two we're going to skip are the ones hidden under here, coming up from there. Find the last two top right facing ones and do front post stitches around those. Nope, I've caught something very wrong there. See, it's even fiddly for me. There we go. And do a treble front post stitch around the last one, just hooking it. Then do a treble around the skipped ones. So follow this up, fold these out the way, find those two underneath, just hook that one out, do a treble. A treble around the next one. And then all you've got left over now to do is find these chains at the very end and do a double crochet in the top of those chains as neatly as you can. Just a double crochet, or in UK terminology, a treble. So there we go. So all you need to then do is repeat those two rows. So now we would go on to a back post stitch row, the more fiddlier one. So what we would do is we chain 3 to begin. And what we need to look out for, first of all, so it looks so much more complicated on the back, but just yarn over twice and then find that first stitch has already worked, and then just find the next stitch. We need to not skip anything at the beginning of the back post row. So we're just going to find the next stitch and that post hidden all the way down there. Okay, and we're going to do a back post stitch. Now to remember to do a back post stitch, we come from the back. So bring your hook down, come from the back, the right hand side, then out over, and then you've hooked it on the top over here, and then do a treble, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over twice, find the next one, which is going to be, if you can't see it, just look for the stitch and then find the post underneath, dig it out, then come from the back over to the front, yarn underneath. So you work the first two that are hidden at the back, then you need to find the next two that are hidden at the back. So look for this next clump of stitches, and those two on the front, move those out of the way and find those two hidden at the back. They're your next two. Come from the back to do a back post stitch and do a treble around those. Same for the next one, which is even more hidden. To dig that out. Okay, then two we skipped are these ones sat on the front going top left. Okay, so we need to dig those out, get these ones that are hidden underneath out of the way, really dig those two out, and then we yarn over twice, go behind those stitches and come out the right hand side from the back of that first stitch, keeping all this stuff out of the way. You don't want to work through any stitches. Okay, then go over to the other side, bring the yarn through, do a treble. Okay, do it for the next one here. Go behind those stitches, out the right hand side of it, making sure to keep away from everything. Go over to the left, bring it underneath and do a treble. Oh, it was a very messy treble. Let's just go with it. Yarn over twice. Okay, so there, worked, worked and worked. Okay, so these ones here at the back, they've been worked. The next two at the front here, we skip those and find the next two hidden at the back. Come from the back, over, do a treble. Find the next hidden one. So the back post stitches on this row, it's all about finding the hidden ones first. And on the front post stitches, it's always about finding the ones at the front going top right. Let's try and help you remember. Okay, so now we need to go back to these two skipped ones at the front. So again, move all these stitches that are behind out of the way, get your finger in there and make them sit by themselves. So yarn over twice and go behind these stitches we just made and to the right of that, keeping away from those stitches at the back. Go over to the left, turn upside down, you've hooked it on top of your hook. Bring the yarn underneath. Do a treble. Okay, do it for the next one as well. And then we need to remember, so back post stitches, we're looking for the ones hidden. So the next, we skip these two at the front, find these next two hidden. At the end, dig that first one out, come from the back, right hand side, bring the yarn under, do a treble. Do it for the next one, which is even more hidden. Where's the last one worked? That one. So this one here is the next one. Oh, lost it. Okay. Yarn over twice, find these ones at the front that we skipped. We need to go behind these stitches, come to the right hand side of that first one, but making sure we're not going through any of these stitches underneath, these ones here. Go to the left. Oh, I completely lost it. Just trying to do it slow. To the right, over, you've hooked it, so you can turn it upside down, bring the yarn underneath, do a treble. Then yarn over twice, do it for the next one. So where are we? My tail's getting in the way. Yarn over twice, this is the next one. Right hand side, hooked it, bring the yarn underneath. Do a treble. Okay, so when you get to the end, we know these ones are worked here. We've only got these two at the front left. We're not going to skip them this time because there's nothing to carry on, so we're just going to work around those. Get these ones behind out of the way, come to the right, do a treble. And then the very last one. Finish up with a double crochet in that last row of chains, these chain 3. So a double crochet in at the top of there, as neatly as you can. And there we go. And if we turn it over, look at that, the magic has happened. So now we're going to move on to the front post stitch again. So we chain 3 and turn. And remember, for the front post stitches, we're looking for those ones sat at the front that are going top right. So the first set are over here, so we're sort of skipping those two, skipping this thing down here, but these are actually, those stitches actually all the way over here anyway, so skip the first two and find these ones here going top right. And then for a front post stitch, we go from the front, so we're not coming from the back, front, so we're just literally just hooking it underneath. Bring the yarn under and do a treble. So this row is a lot easier. Do it under the next one. A little bit of respite, I think, from the back post stitches. Then we need to find the first two we skipped. These are the ones at the very, very beginning. We don't need to come from the back, so we just come all the way down nice and easy and just hook it on our hook like that, and keeping everything to the front. Do a treble, yarn over twice and do it for the next one. Just hook it. That's the first lot done. Then we find the next ones going to the top right. Hook the first one and do a treble. The next one, do a treble. And this is when we finally need to find those ones coming from down here, because they're the two we've just skipped. So to find those, move these two out of the way and you'll see those two posts there. Dig that one out, this one here. Remember, we're just coming from the front like that, and do a treble under there. Do it for the next one. Okay, that's my elbow on the table making dodgy noises. And then we're looking for the next ones going top right. Go on to the first one and do a treble. The next one. Then we find these two we skipped that are going underneath here, so we need to move those out of the way. Find that first one there, dig it out. Oh, I didn't dig it out properly. So come from the front, go to the left hand side, do a treble. The next one. Then the last two, well, we've done those, haven't we? So we now find these last ones here going top right, a little more straight up to be honest, but do a treble around those. Front post, so front post, keep it to the front, and do another treble around there. Then find the two we skipped, which are coming up from here. Move these out of the way. There they are. Hook that out. Do a treble and do it for the next one. And on the front post row we don't end up with anything left over, so we just go straight into a double crochet in the top of those chains, which are here. And there we go. So that's two lots of rows. So there we go, that's how you do the Celtic Weave stitch. You do a row of back post stitches and keep an eye out for the ones that are hidden first, and then you do a row of front post stitches and keep an eye out for the ones that are going top right, and that hopefully will help you remember how to start each row. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. This one here I just worked straight into the chains at the very beginning, so you can see the difference of it worked into the chains as opposed to worked into some single crochets. It's entirely up to you what you want to do, and this stitch is really fun. You could use it for headbands, you could use it for bags, you could use it for anything really, anything you fancy making. A good washcloth, a nice scrubby effect. It's entirely up to you. Just remember to work to units of 4 plus 2 plus 1 at the very beginning chain row. And yeah, hope you managed to follow along. Hopefully you'll give it a try. It is definitely a fiddly and more advanced stitch, but if you crack it, then it creates a brilliant effect. But don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I do a lot of vlogging over there and extra giveaways, so it's always worth popping by over there and following me there. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell if this is the first time to my channel. Thanks for joining, thanks for your support. I'll see you soon for some more crochet fun. Thanks for watching, bye. Okay, so the next stitch still. So the next stitch. Why can't I say next stitch? Next stitch. Totally freaked me out. Somebody just touched my foot, and I was like, I haven't got a cat. It was my ball of yarn. Oh my god, that scared the living daylights out of me.